So I'm at the Fujifilm stand now because I wanted to look at the brand new 56mm f1.2 lens. This is the update from the previous fan favorite 56mm lens, and there are some key differences. First thing is the size. Now in terms of weight, it doesn't feel like there's much in it, but this is definitely heavier than the old one, but also it's a lot larger. Front element is a lot larger, so hopefully that's going to combat some of that vignetting. The 56mm f1.2, the original, it's got some heavy vignetting when you're shooting at f1.2, so the larger front element, maybe that's going to help with that. What's certain about this lens is that it's definitely sharper. The chromatic aberrations are better controlled, the bokeh looks a lot nicer, and also the autofocus, which is the thing that I've really been looking forward to. The autofocus and the way, or the motors in this lens I should say, are far superior or much snappier than the original lens. It just feels a lot better. It feels like a more modern lens. But the old one, great lens, don't get me wrong. I love the 56mm f1.2. The original is a fantastic lens. I really enjoyed shooting with it, but the autofocus was really sluggish. It wouldn't keep up with some of the more modern, newer Fujifilm cameras. However, this one is right up there. You put it on the new XH2 camera and it just flies. So autofocus is fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to take a few test shots between these two lenses just to see what the autofocus, and maybe like a few test shots around here just to see what the sharpness and the bokeh is going to look like. So yeah, let's put this on the camera and see how they perform. So here we have a couple of images that we can look at just to see the difference in sharpness. Now, this is not a scientific test, not meant to be taken too seriously, but it's just to give you an idea on some of the improvements that Fujifilm has made in the new lens. First thing, as I mentioned, not a scientific comparison because I messed up the aperture. The new lens was shot at f1.2, the old lens was shot at f1.4. The old lens, the aperture ring would always slip. I hated that about the old lens. New lens construction was a little bit better. However, even with the advantage of the smaller aperture, when you zoom in, you can clearly tell that the new lens is noticeably sharper. When you're looking at the skin texture and the details, it's obviously a sharper lens. And as soon as we start going into other areas of the image, even in the denim, yes, the depth of field is going to make a difference because of the angle at which Imran is standing, but nonetheless, anywhere you look, the new lens is definitively sharper, so it is producing it is a more clear lens, and sharpness has been taken off for both lenses when it comes to Lightroom, so no additional sharpening has been added. This is just what the lens is producing, and yeah, the new lens is definitely sharper. Is it massively sharper? Like, is it so much better that, you know, you have to drop the old lens and buy the new one? I don't know, because from this distance, you can't really tell them apart. Aside from the colors, there's a slight difference in colors. The blue tones just look a little bit more saturated in the old lens. Like, the colors just seem to pop a tiny bit more in comparison to the new lens. Not massively, but overall, I don't see a huge difference. However, if we zoom in 1:1, you can clearly see that Fujifilm has definitely made improvements to the optics and the clarity for the new 56mm lens, which is a welcome change. When it comes to autofocus, the older lens did seem to struggle at finding the subject, and this wasn't a difficult subject to capture. This is a still subject not moving around, so you know, the older lens on the old camera system, it's just not going to perform in the same way as the new lens is. The new lens, however, although it does perform better in terms of sharpness and autofocus, it just felt a little snappier. It would miss a few shots occasionally, but then it would come back into focus very quickly. So the lens would snap into focus and find the subject faster than the older lens, and it managed to keep focus more effectively as well. But I think this is more down to the fact that I'm shooting with an older camera, the X-T3, instead of some of the newer cameras. If you want to see the biggest improvement in terms of autofocus for these newer lenses, then you're probably going to have to shoot with one of the newer cameras. So you might need to upgrade the body as well. So after shooting briefly with both of these lenses, it's quite clear that the new 56mm lens is a lot snappier, it's faster. Even on an older camera like the X-T3, it just feels a lot better in terms of the autofocus. Like, it just finds the subject much faster than the old lens. And again, I love the old lens. It's a beautiful lens. It was really well made, and for the time it was fantastic. But this lens, welcome update. It was definitely needed. For video, I'm not convinced just yet, but it could be the camera. You know, the autofocus didn't seem to keep up with some of the other camera systems that I shoot with, so that could be just the fact that it's the X-T3. I'm assuming that with one of the newer cameras, it's going to be a lot faster, a lot snappier with the autofocus. But overall, I'm quite impressed with this. The image quality, definite upgrade over the original, but yeah, this has just been a quick hands-on comparison. I can't wait to get my hands properly on this lens, and then I can do some comparisons against some of the other portrait lenses like the 85 from Zeiss, like full frame lens, or maybe just compare it properly to the original 56 f1.2 to help me decide on which lens is the better option for you. So yeah, just been a quick comparison between these two lenses. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video, and hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you.